All right. Well, good morning and welcome to the Board of Sanitary Commissioners meeting this April 2nd of 2025. I'll call this meeting to order and ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All commissioners are present today. We will now open up the floor for public comment. Those wishing to make public comment will have 3 minutes. Seeing no takers, we will wander into the consideration of the March 19th, 2025 board minutes. Would anyone like to make a motion in regards to approval of those minutes?
So moved. Second motion.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I will abstain as I was absent. Board minutes are approved. Next, we will consider the register of claims totaling $406,000 and it's going to be one of those days. $406,791.69. Would any commissioner like to clarify or speak about any of the claims? Seeing no takers, I will entertain a motion to approve.
Motion. Second.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
With 5 ayes, the register of claims is approved. We will now have a district administrator update with Mr. Rick Conrad.
Good morning, Rick Conrad, District Administrator. Got a lot going on this week. First, I want to acknowledge our superintendent at the treatment plant, Jason Ingram, for getting some vital repairs made to the treatment plant early this week. The last board meeting, we talked about having a leak in a pipe that was very nearly catastrophic, but we were able to head that off without really any consequences other than some lost sleep and frayed nerves. Everything should be up and running and ready to go for the heavier rains we're expecting. I have noticed watching the weather, I think we're expecting an inch less. They keep lowering the amounts we're anticipated to get, which is good because we were approaching that threshold where the engineering crew and Tom Noble and his group were going to be losing some sleep themselves about some inland flooding. So things are looking better, but we are still going to be getting a lot of rain. I think we still got an inch coming tonight on top of saturated grounds and possibly more rain in the next few days. So as I say frequently, if you would check your nearby storm drains and make sure they're not clogged with leaves and the debris, it'll, especially on this time of year, it'll really help protect your neighborhood. So keep a lookout for stuff like that. We will be responding if there's any flooding of roads or approaching homes. So they are well prepared to deal with that. There are no current construction, no roads closed due to any MSD work. On Friday, we're going to have our employee training for the municipal stormwater. We had our department heads trained a few weeks ago, and we'll have the regular employees done on Friday this week. This is a IDEM mandated program and really just helps us make sure that we're doing our part to not contribute to any stormwater pollution from any of the facilities that we run. Starting April 7th, Monday, all new connections to the sanitary district, meaning anybody who is moving into the area and setting up new service, will have an additional security deposit to pay along with their bill. This will be in the amount of $135. This is done by calling the Indiana American Water Company, so you don't do this directly through us. When you call to activate your drinking water service, we have an agreement with Indiana American Water so that they will also set up our account with them simultaneously, and you'll see that $135 security deposit placed on your bill. This is going to help us because we do have a number of folks who will leave and not pay those final bills. If you move out and you call us to let us know you're disconnecting, that security full deposit will come back to you. But again, this should just help us with some of the relatively few instances where we have difficulty collecting payment. And then lastly, Jason Donati from Sanitation and Recycling handed me a note that they have selected their first round of neighborhood cleanups on May 3rd. They will be at Old West End, Industry, Thomas Park, and South Central. On May 10th, they'll be in McKinley, Riverside, Morningside, and Whiteley. And on May 17th, they'll be at the South Side and East Central. I think that's it for spring, right? You said nothing till fall, but if anybody's interested in that, you can always call the sanitation department and try and get your neighborhood added to a list. And that is it for my updates, and I'll be happy to field any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Conrad. Mr. Clark, questions?
No questions. Thank you, Rick.
Mr. Selvey?
Just kudos to you guys that averted a catastrophe.
Did a good job, yep.
Very well done.
Mr. Overton?
No questions today.
Mr. Smith?
Do you have an estimate of the cost that we're going to have to pay for the cleanup of this village?
Yeah, for the emergency fees, we're looking at, I think we're estimating that it's somewhere near $300,000. The equipment that had to be brought in immediately, had this leak continued and had not been able to be controlled, we probably would have lost the 4 main pumps at the treatment plant, which means it would have been shut down. So they were called in immediately to bring in additional pumps to bypass the leak if it was going to grow. So that's our estimate. It is a pretty quick fix. They were able to get this done in a matter of a couple of weeks. It is pretty pricey, but it is far worse than the alternative.
Great. Again, just want to congratulate Jason Ingram and his staff on that.
Nothing from me. Thank you, Mr. Conrad. All right, moving into old business. Mr. Clark, any old business?
No business, Mr. President?
Mr. Selvey?
No, sir.
Mr. Overton?
No, thank you.
Mr. Smith?
No, thank you.
All right. We'll get into our new business. We have Resolution 2025-04, amending the existing interlocal cooperation agreement with the City of Muncie. Mr. Rick Conrad presenting. Mr. Conrad?
Hello again. This agreement is to basically account for some, we had a previous agreement with the police department to use our CNG gas station where we would help install the equipment on the vehicles so that they could run off of natural gas. There was an agreed amount for that service. And the goal was, as the vehicles would use the CNG, it would sort of pay for itself and pay back the loan to the sanitary district. But to get the actual repayment based on the current usage, we're looking at far past 10 years. And so as an alternative, what we have proposed is erasing that debt in exchange for 5 of the CNG vehicles that we could then use around the plant. Around the district, most likely probably at the sanitation where the CNG station is. But this agreement is to erase that obligation for the fee in exchange for those CNG vehicles from the police station.
All right. Mr. Clark, questions, comments, concerns?
So we've seen their usage wane, I think, in the past couple of years, where initially there were several of their vehicles that had the CNG outfitted. And obviously the police department has gone towards an EV or a hybrid solution in their vehicles. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. It's dwindled to, I think there's only 1 or 2 cars that are actually being used and refueled at the CNG station.
Okay. That's all I have.
Mr. Selvey?
No, I have nothing.
Mr. Overton?
No questions.
Mr. Smith?
I have nothing to add to this.
I'll just kind of add in that, basically the and Mr. Smith can correct me, but generally if vehicle will stay in a police fleet somewhere between about 5 and 7 years. So a lot of these vehicles that were paid for are slowly kind of being aged out of that fleet. So this number is going to continue to go down. This is really just a means to kind of clear the books with everyone. And, you know, it was not a great deal entered in by Muncie Sanitary District years ago prior to Mayor Ridenhour's administration, but, sometimes we deal with the cards that we were dealt, so.
Agreed.
That's all I have to say on that matter. With that said, I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2025-04.
So moved.
And I will second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing no nays, resolution passes. We'll move into our additional board topics at this time. Mr. Clark,
Not at this time, Mr. President.
Mr. Selvey,
No, sir.
Mr. Overton,
Just thanks to Rick as always and the good job that he does.
Mr. Smith.
Nothing additional today.
I'll add mine, be on the lookout. I'll ask the public to be on the lookout for our engineering guys. As hopefully the storm doesn't turn out to be much, but those guys will be out in the street pumping things down, trying to hunt down, clogs, bus drains, whatever. So please just be, cognizant that those guys, need to be safe. They're trying to do what they can do for the public, and that, we also appreciate the fact that those guys are out there, if it's after hours, a call away from their family, doing work that they need to do to keep things clear, and that it's a challenging job, and thankful that they do it. So,
That's right.
thanks, Tom. With that said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
I will second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right. This board is adjourned.